2 years ago, Coventry couple Brian and Andrew decided to build their dream holiday home on the beautiful Greek island of Crete. But in order to raise enough money, they had to team up with longtime friends Pete and Leslie. Thus began an emotional journey of epic proportion. In fact, if they'd known then what lay ahead, they may never have embarked on the project.
Right, so I ballsed up here.
Absolutely.
You balls up, right? Smell that? It is off, I agree. Have you had it long?
Brian Saunders used to work in customer services, while his partner, Andrew Sutton, was an aircraft dispatcher. Then, back in 2003, they teamed up with retired friends Pete and Leslie Cardy in the hope of building a holiday home in Crete.
This is the concept building.
But Brian insisted on an ambitious alternative to patio doors.
I have got this vision. I want a clear pane of glass.
Doesn't want windows to slide. He wants it to drop down and be invisible.
Have you worked out how much that's going to cost?
The following month, the team set off for Crete and embarked on an exhaustive search for the perfect plot with the perfect view.
That's it. Look, the picture window is going to be here. It's got the bloody pilot. Love it.
And after a few more full starts,
I thought you said it was an easy climb.
they finally found the right plot
That is it.
with the right view and at roughly the right price. But back in Coventry, there was shock news on Brian's hydraulic window.
We're talking budget costs of circa £38,000.
What?
38,000.
Total costs were now spiralling out of control, and either Brian and Andrew had to give up on their dream, or
How would you react if we said that we actually wanted to live out there?
What, permanently?
Yeah.
What, when? Straight away?
Yeah.
so the house was sold and work began on what was now to be a holiday home for Les and Pete downstairs, but a permanent home for Brian and Andrew upstairs. Finally, it was time for an emotional departure from Coventry.
It's a very, very sad time.
You'll be right. You'll be right.
But it wasn't all right, because their arrival in Crete coincided with the worst winter weather for over 50 years.
It looks very much like a deserted building site to me.
Hardly the glamorous start they'd hoped for to their new life in the sun.
I just hope to God we haven't made the biggest mistake of our lives.
Eventually, the sun shone again. But then they hit problems with Brian's giant hydraulic window. Communications between Crete and the glass company in Coventry had somehow gone awry.
We've got about an 8-inch discrepancy. As we stand, this window will not fit in that opening.
I think we've lost this window.
I really do.
Brian was distraught. But eventually, even he had to accept the inevitable. Then, work was halted on Pete and Leslie's holiday apartment downstairs so as to finish upstairs as soon as possible. And with Brian's window now cancelled, Andrew came up with a radical thought.
Perhaps we can use the money that we were going to put into the window, but we can actually give that money back to Les and Pete. I suppose, in effect, it's like buying them back out of the project.
Unfortunately, Brian let slip Andrew's idea to Pete and Les.
We've lost our dream. We go back to Wales and we've lost our dream.
No,
I think we have lost our dream, Brian. Because if you buy us out now, that's it, it's finished.
Disaster.
But apologies were made, and peace eventually prevailed on their first evening in the new house.
Forget the window, Brian. We've got an ephemeral view.
The future.
The future.
I will get my window one day.
It's now October in the Welsh Valleys, and having all but finished the refurbishment of their house here, Pete and Les have resurrected the plans for their downstairs section of the villa in Crete.
The space outside might give you enough room so you could have a toilet.
They're due to fly out to the island tomorrow, for the first time since helping Brian and Andrew move in more than 6 months ago.
The last time we were there, the emphasis was on their part of the house. Now, we're hoping that it's going to be reciprocated and all the energy and attention is going to go into downstairs.
I can't really see much to improve on that original layout.
We were shocked and upset when Ryan said about them buying us out, because it was a dream we all had together. And it seemed at the time that the dream was over. We'd done our bit and we were sort of being cast aside.
So when we go back, we will treat it as a blank canvas. We're starting afresh, as friends, and sit down around a table with a few glasses of wine.
We've missed them, I must admit, and it's the beginning of, I hope, an exciting period.
So, how have things been for Andrew and Brian over in Crete?
I think things are going pretty well. There are some worries, but there again there would be when you've moved lock, stock and barrel 2,500 miles away.
It's been a very hard 6 months in many ways. Very enjoyable, but very hard. I'm coming to the end of working here at the airport, delivering cars. I was originally going to be a holiday rep, but quickly decided that that wasn't the right thing to do. So I was a holiday rep for one day, officially, and I left. Have a good time.
More surprisingly, perhaps, Brian has also got a job.
I actually am working for the company that built this house, but it's commission only, which I feel insecure about, especially with the winter coming on, where the direct flights from England stop, and the tourists stop, and the resorts close down. The next few months are going to be extremely difficult, I think, for me rather than for Andrew.
Money has been an issue for us because we had to spend more on the house than we originally planned anyway. I know Brian is very worried about the winter, but we're survivors. We will survive. No doubt about that at all.
But after all the traumas of Pete and Les's last visit, both Brian and Andrew are feeling trepidatious about their imminent return.
I'm really looking forward to seeing them because we are great friends, and I know things got a bit heated earlier on, but everything was resolved.
They haven't seen what's happened to the house since they left. I think they'll see an awful lot of changes. They may pick up on things that haven't changed and perhaps should have done. My only concern is that, as usual, Brian has slightly got out of sync with everything.
I have a little bit of a problem that's loomed. I've actually dropped a bit of a faux pas.
He's now got somebody that he's sort of met, who's a friend of a friend. They're on a holiday, they've run out of money, they've got nowhere to stay, or whatever story it is. Sad story, he's fallen for it, and he's invited them to stay, so we're actually double booked.
I got the dates all mixed up, and we've got a friend staying here for a week, and gonna have to put Les and Pete up in a local guest house.
And they don't know?
They don't know about it.
Well, when are you going to tell them?
I'm going to tell them at the airport.
Don't you think they're going to be a bit, disappointed?
I think they're going to be furious, actually, and I'm really worried about it, but I can run quite fast.
So, the following day, Les and Pete arrive at Hania Airport, blissfully unaware of the little surprise that Brian has in store.
So do you think you'll tell them immediately, Brian?
No, I couldn't bear having an atmosphere in the car to the villa, so I'll wait until we get home. I've worked it all out anyway. I'm not going to suggest they take the bags out. They just come up and have a nice cold drink. Here they are, here they are, here they are. Give us a hug, give it. Great to see you. Yeah, it's great to see you. 6 months. Can't believe it.
Andrew has reserved a car for Pete and Les, but he won't be accompanying them all back to the villa, much to Brian's surprise.
You're not coming?
I've got a car to bring back.
Oh. What? Well, we were all going to have a chat.
I'll just keep that. That's how it is.
There's no way you can come home with us.
It's just we've got 9 extra cars to take back.
Go on, Brian. Let's go.
So it looks as though Brian will have to break the news to Pete and Les on his own.
See you later.
Oh. Oh, smooth, Brian, smooth.
Apart from the unfortunate mix-up over accommodation, Brian is also nervous as to how Pete and Les will react to the progress he and Andrew have made on the villa.
Here we are, right? Oh, tasteful wrought iron gates, that's who you've got. Absolutely. And still got the gravel drive. I thought that was going to be hard surface.
No, that's the least of our
good.
problems.
One way or another, The next half hour seems certain to mark another watershed in this turbulent friendship.
Nice to see you got the crazy paving done, but it still looks like a bit of a building site.
So although Pete and Les don't know it yet, they're actually booked into a guest house up the road.
Can we get the bags out, Brian?
No, just leave them in there for a bit. I know you've had a long journey, but I'm sweating cobs here. It's hotter than it is in Wales, and I've come dressed as for Wales. I wanted to show you what we've done.
Well, can't we get our cases out?
Leave the bags alone for a second. Let's go and have a look, please. All right?
Yeah, I can't see why we need to do it
Well,
now, but...
that's how it is.
But now, just to add to Brian's problems, Pete and Les seem a little underwhelmed by the landscaping of the grounds.
Yeah.
I expected him to clear all this lot up.
Well, I suppose we did as well.
Hey, look at it, all this rubble left about and wire.
It does. It don't look that much different than when we left.
No.
In fact, it looks worse, Brian. You see-
Lack of money has clearly taken its toll, but Brian's doing his best to emphasise the positives.
Do you like the pool? Look at the
Well,
pool.
the pool looks better.
Isn't this
because
wonderful?
It was full of boulders and cardboard
Oh,
last
it's
time.
much better.
Yeah.
So that's a lot better.
Unfortunately, though, it looks like they'll have to wait their turn for a swim.
Look at little worms.
Well, they're actually millipedes, and they sort of come out of the ground. It's just one of the things, when it's slightly damp, and we're trying to find out what they actually do in life, Pete.
Well, they just live, Brian. What do you want it to do? Tap dance?
Well, Brian seems to be doing a bit of a tap dance of his own as he continues to sidestep the thorny issue of accommodation with Pete and Les.
Let's go upstairs, up the great staircase.
Oh, so you've got a new awning up.
Yeah, second-hand. Lying around in the cafe with your clothes. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Christ, what happened there, Brian?
To add to Brian and Andrew's woes, their two unruly Labradors have recently developed a penchant for soft furnishings.
Well, when did that happen?
It happened about 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And you left it like that?
Well, you can actually...
You can't sit on it, can you?
Yes, you can. I mean, if you get your cheeks positioned quite nicely, like here. Yeah.
Surely that's not going to be satisfactory in the long term. You can't live with that, Brian. So.
Well, no, I know, but it's a question of as and when.
Well, I'm afraid I'd have had to have had that re-upholstered. Is everything finished off completely up here now?
Yes, there's a couple of snags that are being looked into, but by and large, this is it, and it's super.
The lights look lovely.
But the biggest snag of all right now is in the spare room, and that's still something Brian seems reluctant to broach.
Oh, you got the cowl up, because we never had that
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
That finishes it off, that cowl now.
It does.
What else you done up this end, Brian?
Nothing at all at this end. It's as it
not
was
even in your
before.
room?
No, nothing in my room at all.
How about in our room?
No, don't, no.
What bloody hell was that, Brian?
You've got something to do with us.
Well, you must have. Who is she?
Oh dear.
Come on, we need to talk.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Come on, come clean. What's going on?
I got the dates wrong. I've been trying to find the right time to tell you. I met a friend who needed somewhere to stay, and I didn't talk to Andrew, and they moved in.
No, but you know we've been coming for ages. And I spoke to you only 2 days ago on the phone. Why didn't you tell us something?
It just
You're
happened.
always full of surprises.
I'm trying to find the right time, Pete.
Well, the right time. Nothing seems like it's the right time now. We've arrived expecting to stay here. Where are we going to stay now?
I booked you into the guest house. You've been there before. You like it.
Well, I didn't
liked
like
it
it.
here.
I liked it here. You know, this is, what we come over to stay in.
I'm really sorry.
I'm not that.
Well, you can always come down here for breakfast.
Well, cheers, Brian.
Look, I'm wrong. I made a complete cock-up.
It's just that, life is always full of surprises for us.
You would have thought that Pete and Les might have got used to Brian's little ways by now, but apparently not.
What do you think, Brian? How did it go? I think it went quite well, actually, considering what I hit them with. Could have been a lot worse. Well, perhaps not a lot worse, but it could have been worse.
Just past them driving to the guest house. Pete nearly knocked me off my scooter. And he was grabbing the wheel like this, so clearly not a happy man.
This British-owned guest house is where they all used to stay while the villa was being built. And Pete and Les must now be wondering if they shouldn't have just saved themselves a lot of bother and invested in a timeshare here.
I'll go down and get that other case. I should have told them before they left England. My fault. It really was my fault. You know, you get carried sometimes, and other times I just don't know how to handle this.
He is absolutely furious. I've never seen him so angry.
Didn't seem to take
There's this
No, he didn't take it well at all.
I don't believe what's just happened. I just think it's because we're too bloody easy. He's made a promise to someone and it's easier to fob us off than upset somebody else.
But Brian's main concern now is whether he'll ever get to see the essential supplies he's asked Pete and Les to bring out from England.
Oh, I've still got all his bloody stuff here. Brian.
Haggis, for some reason, has been difficult to find in Crete.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to take, put that where the bloody sun don't shine.
Throw them there.
As has dry sherry. They're not dry enough in this case.
Oh, that's lovely. That's made my day.
Don't put it on there.
Oh, everything's...
It's empty. You've got a bottle of sherry already exposed. So that's the absolute piece of resistance. The top's broken off. That means all your clothes have got to be washed.
Yeah, everything's absolutely sudden.
Think yourself bloody lucky it weren't Paul.
But lucky is the very last thing Les is feeling.
For 2 pins, I'd just go home. If we could get a flight back tomorrow, I'd go. Perhaps we should have bought us out.
Still fuming from the day's events, Pete and Les decide to give Brian and Andrew a wide berth that night. Not quite the joyous reunion they'd all been expecting. The following morning, and Brian is off to work. His office is about 45 kilometres from the villa, just outside the ancient port of Rethymnon. It's not a journey that he enjoys.
I thought I'd given all this up when I left England.
What, commuting?
Yeah, commuting. It's 1 hour each way on an awful road with mad drivers. It frightens me to death. It's extremely stressful. I mean, my heart's pounding away and I often come out shaking. Well, that shouldn't happen. I didn't come out here for that.
Back at the guest house, Pete and Les have managed to put yesterday's disappointments behind them.
We had a meal and a few drinks, and gradually we thawed. It took a while because we were really upset yesterday, you know, that he could make such a cock-up.
I put it down to just one of Brian's eccentricities. He does tend to do these things quite regularly, so we shouldn't have been that surprised.
Meanwhile, the subject of all this conflict, Brian's mysterious German lodger, seems to be making herself very much at home.
When you've got a stranger in the house, you sort of have to sort of adopt new rules. You can't sort of just sort of wander around, having just come out the shower and then decide you want a drink. You've got to sort of grab towels or clothes and then lock doors, shut doors, and it does make life a little bit more difficult. Particularly when you don't, I mean, I don't know the person. They're an old friend of Brian's. I don't know the young lady in question, so it's, you know, it's a complete stranger to me.
Brian, you know, says that he's known her for 25 years, but she don't look 25 years old to me, so I can't really see how he could possibly have known her from 25, not unless she was sort of a babe in arms. I'd rather suspect he has only known her for about 25 minutes.
But the identity of Brian's lodger is not the only thing he's keeping from the others.
I'm still going to have my window, you know.
How?
I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but in a couple of days' time I'm going to meet him with Mikhail as the architect, and I'm going to try and drag him to one side and talk you through. It's laying the groundwork and then slowly trying to manoeuvre everybody around.
You seem pretty good at that.
In all honesty, I really want to see downstairs done now, so we can come over here truly independent.
I'm just hoping that the money that was left when we went back in 7 months ago is still there, because it was put there for downstairs.
And after all, you haven't really had a house for all your investment,
Oh, no, we've really still all we've got is what we now all call the Great Store. I want to see the Great Store become the Great Downstairs.
But, unbeknown to Pete, someone else seems to be taking an interest in the Great Downstairs.
What are you thinking?
They should do something with this room. And I've already very good ideas. What?
You have ideas.
Yes.
What are your ideas?
This would be a very, very great party room.
A party room?
Yes. A dance floor would be right here.
Yeah.
I need a door here.
Yeah.
And maybe a place like where I can put the bar.
A bar?
Yes, I need a bar. And a bed and TV. Very great, very nice.
So if they did this, you'd be quite interested in renting this, would you?
Yes.
I'm sure they'd be thrilled.
Sorry?
In the next programme, Brian's job goes from bad to worse.
I've been sat here for an hour, oh, more than an hour now, waiting for these bloody people to turn up, and they've not shown. Let's get the lamps out and the helmet.
He decides to cheer Les up with a little light caving.
Come on, girl.
Can't wait.
And Brian's lodger seems to have taken on a lodger of her own.
Sarah?
This is Jenny.
Jenny? Hi, Jenny. Who's that?
We'll return to a place in Greece next week. And join us in our largest big cat sanctuary when we meet the Lion Man Thursday night at 6 on ABC.